Childcare workers need to know. 7 basic photography skills. What is photography? A photograph is taken with a camera. The image in front of you, which is 3-dimensional, is then recorded and fixed on the image sensor, which is a flat surface. A camera consists of a body and a lens. The body is a dark box with a shutter and an image sensor, the material that records images, like film in the old days, which adjusts the amount of light that enters the camera and records the image. The lens has an aperture to adjust the amount of light entering the lens. Adjusting the aperture is done by adjusting multiple curtains called aperture wings to narrow the path of light coming in. The lens will focus on the subject in the distance and up close, just as if you squinted. And the background will be blurred, just as if you had opened your eyes. We have compiled a list of the first 7 things you need to know when taking pictures with such equipment. Below, we have compiled a table of basic knowledge that will be useful to those new to photography. 7 basic knowledge of photography. Exposure. Exposure is the control of how much light the sensor absorbs. If overexposed, the photo will be too bright, and the image will be unidentifiable. If underexposed, the photo will be too dark, and the image will be unidentifiable. Exposure is controlled by 3 factors: shutter speed, aperture, and ISO sensitivity. Shutter speed. Shutter speed is the length of time the camera shutter opens and light hits the sensor. A fast shutter speed, e.g., 1/2000 seconds, stops motion. Requires a bright environment. Slow shutter speeds, e.g., 1 second, let in more light. They are suitable for night scenes and star photography and require a tripod. It also allows you to take pictures that take advantage of blurring and blurring of moving subjects in your composition. Aperture. The aperture controls the size of the lens aperture, which controls the amount of light and the range of focus depth of field. Low f-stop values such as f1 for indicate a large aperture, more light, and a shallower depth of field range, while high f-stop values such as f16 indicate a small aperture, less light, and a wider depth of field range. In the human eye, it is the difference between a wide open eye and a squinted eye. ISO. ISO indicates the sensitivity of the camera's sensor. A low ISO, e.g., 100, lowers the sensitivity of the sensor and produces less noise, but requires more light. Higher ISO, e.g., 3200, is useful when shooting in darker environments, but may increase image noise. The basic setting is ISO 100. Increase it depending on the lens aperture and the light conditions of the scene. White balance. White balance controls the color temperature. Outdoors, the color temperature of the environment varies depending on the time of day, weather conditions, sun and shade, etc. In addition, the color temperature of artificial light, such as indoors or at night, can change the color temperature. Also, indoors or at night, under artificial light sources, sunlight, fluorescent light, incandescent light, etc., each light source produces its own characteristic colors. White balance is the process of balancing the expression of white objects under various ambient light conditions. By adjusting the white balance, colors can be reproduced accurately or creatively. Focal length. Focal length indicates the distance between the lens and the sensor and controls the viewing angle, what is seen, and perspective, how it appears. Short focal lengths, e.g., 18 mm, provide a wide-angle field of view, while longer focal lengths, e.g., 200 mm, provide a telephoto field of view. This allows for a wider range of perspective expression and blurring of the background. The choice of focal length and the distance to the subject will help you create your work. RAW and JPEG. RAW and JPEG are file formats that describe how the camera stores an image. JPEG is a compressed format that is automatically adjusted by the camera, while RAW is unprocessed data that can be post-processed to create data with various adjustments, such as color temperature and color tone.